Hey, what's going on? This is the Convo. I'm Norm along with Mike, who's super sleepy, just finishing one podcast into another. It is Sunday, October 16th, 2022. The Maple Leafs 2-1 in their first week of play. And yeah, lamenting another injured goaltender in Matt Murray. He's going to be gone for some time. The fan base expected it. Michael, good morning.
Good morning. I'm sleepy because unceremoniously the GO train. There's a lot of construction
Oh,
on the GO train, and they're only doing Lakeshore West once an hour. I missed the train on Thursday, right after the game, and didn't get on the train until 11:45,
but
and so I didn't get home until 2:45. Last night I caught
that
the early
fucking
train.
train is filled with lunatics at midnight, too.
Oh yeah, and
All their shot at the all their shot at
vomit all over the floor, and last night I got the early train, and it was stopped for a half an hour before Oakville because they were waiting for another train to come the other way. So GO train, get your shit in order. Okay.
And you were at the game last night, so
I was at both games. I was at the opener, and I was at the game against the first Battle of Ontario. But all the drama, Norm, really unfolded before, and I always feel like that. I cursed things by actually thinking about something and bringing it up, because I tweeted something in the morning because there was video out there on Friday night of Eric Shalgren getting bowled over by a Rochester Americans defenseman, Ethan Prow. And he left the game, and Dylan Ferguson replaced him. And at that point, they didn't know the health status of Eric Shalgren. If you look at the Leafs depth chart, they've got a lot of goaltenders. But with the exception of Shalgren, Joseph Wall, who's recovering from off-season shoulder surgery, and 2022 draft pick Dennis Hildeby, who's playing over with Fariastad in the SHL. The only two goaltenders they had were Murray and Samsonov. And I'm like, okay, God forbid if something happens to one of these guys, they're because they have no cap space. They're 50 contracts. What's going to happen? And this plays out because Matt Murray, as I'm tweeting something out in the morning at the morning skate, he skates off the ice. Nobody knows what's going on. After the morning skate, Sheldon Keefe's like, well, he might play tonight, but we don't know. We're just checking out everything. And then come to find out it's an adductor injury, which groin hip area, and he's out for a minimum of 4 weeks. Now,
hey, Mike, real quick, you type into Google Matt Murray injury. The answer is which one?
Matt Murray injury, it's yes. Yeah. No, but this is the thing. Matt Murray played well. I didn't think he was responsible for any of the goals in the loss to Montreal. I know some people think the second goal was pretty bad. I thought he played well.
Right.
They lost that game because Justin Hall had a brain cramp, pinching in with 35 seconds left to go in the third period in a tie game, which is something you don't do. Now, that being said, Hall played better on Thursday in the game against Washington, and he got the game-winning goal yesterday. So
game-winning goal scorer, trade bait, Justin Hall.
But the goaltending is the focus now. And Samsonov I think he struggled early against his old team. Apparently some of his former teammates, his Russian teammates, were sort of like getting under his skin during TV timeouts. He was much calmer yesterday. I think he played better. And they're going to have to rely on him because, I don't think they're going to play Eric Shalgren a ton of games. It was going to be a 50-50 split between Murray and Samsonov. Now it's going to be Samsonov probably 75, 80%.
But Mike, he's got to be excited. He's got to be super excited for this. I mean, a bit nervous, but super excited.
Well, this is an opportunity for him. I know that I talked about the goaltending situation, and there were some people who said, he signed here because he knew Matt Murray would get hurt and he wouldn't get the opportunity. And I don't know if that's the case, but I do think that he now has an opportunity to take the job. And Murray's going to be out until
odds were high too, Mike. You know that.
Yeah, Murray's going to have the opportunity or Samsonov is going to have the opportunity of the next 10 games where he's probably going to play 8 of them. And if he wins like 5 or 6 of them, then, he might get a larger chunk of the games once Murray does come back. I still think that once Murray comes back, they're going to split it 50-50. They're going to want to mitigate any chances of Murray getting hurt again. But I think when the playoffs roll around, Murray is going to be the guy that starts.
Well, let's wait and see. Mike, let's just wait and see. He lasted, what, 1 game and a practice? Like, we don't know. On Samsonov, or is it Samsonov?
I had it.
Yes. Are you guys going to yell at me if I say Samsonov?
No. I had it clarified yesterday. It's Samsonov, but I've heard it's Samsonov. So
Samsonov is way more pretentious. Let's just get down to the brass tacks.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Samsonov, okay? So 44 games last year, roughly half a season. You think based on his evolution as a player and him getting better at what he does and coming to Toronto, even if theoretically it wasn't supposed to happen, he can take on more of a load. I mean, this is what, for fourth season in the NHL. So 55 games if need be. I mean, he's getting paid well, and he's put himself in position with his play, and now obviously forced into a position with Matt Murray being injured. Hopefully this guy can take the puck and run with it, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, if he doesn't, the Leafs are in trouble because, if they essentially need him to be slightly above average. I mean, I think one thing you've noticed in the 3 games, with the exception of the Justin Hall pinch, defensively they've been fairly responsible,
and that's good. That's what we want, right? That was a key thing to the Maple Leafs and the the transformation of the defensive group over the last few years, become more responsible. And if the first 3 games are any indication of that, it's off to a good start. There are other things about this team that we would like to see improved upon, right?
Yeah, it's not all on the blue line. It's the defense. It's the forwards,
right,
kicking in and contributing defensively. And that's one of the reasons why now you have, your 3rd and 4th lines are primarily defensive lines that are checking, that can score on occasion. But, when you have Kerfoot, Engvall, and Yarncroke, and you have Aubie Kubel, Aston Reese, and Kampf, those are checking lines.
Right. Super small sample size, just 3 games, 3 goals a game. Are we going to see more of this? Fewer goals, tighter defense, less thrilling hockey potentially, unless you get into a position where goals being scored late or there's a big play being made. But do you think it's possible we could see less of just this scoring bonanza and just that focus more on responsible 3-zone 200-foot hockey?
I think right now the reason that their production is at 3 goals a game is because their power play hasn't been particularly good. I mean, 0 for 4 against Montreal. They were okay against Washington last night. They get the go-ahead goal from Nylander on the power play in the 3rd period, but really it's not clicking on all cylinders. Now, and the thing is, teams that going up against the power play that was number 1 in the league last year, they're going to come up with new scenarios. Against Montreal, I saw them basically put 2 guys on Austin Matthews, following him around. It's like sort of like a box and one and hot. And
Leafs also have to get going, Mike. Sorry to interrupt you, but the Leafs also have to get going. This is something that formulates in seasons and gets better, right? Or if you go back 2 seasons, it gets worse.
Yeah, well, yeah. In the first half of the year, they were like 35%. And they dropped off. They were more consistent last year, but this year, I mean, maybe it was the fact that Tavares was out for most of training camp and he was a little rusty. I just thought the passing wasn't as there you go.
He's your leading scorer, by the way, and he's got himself a cereal deal.
Yeah, the passing wasn't as crisp, not as crisp as his cereal. The passing was not as crisp as you would like it to be, and that will come in time. But you also have to think that other teams will try to devise strategies to frustrate them and try to keep the puck away from Matthews. I see them trying to do like cross ice passes, and most of the time those don't work when you have a disciplined a penalty killing team. Yeah, I should. I actually should have bought some when I was up in Canada. I didn't yesterday. I have no idea what it tastes like. Is it what frozen or is it dehydrated blueberries or something? Or
It's something like that. We bought this last year. We bought
yeah,
this
I've got
last.
too
Did
many
I open
boxes.
it and eat it on during the show?
I have too many boxes of Josh Allen, flakes or whatever the hell they're selling in Buffalo. But I'll just say this. I mean, you'll take 2-1. I know that everybody was up in arms after they lost to a hideous Montreal team, who I think was, they were psyched up because it was the opener of the season, and Slavkovsky, the top pick in the draft, but they gave that game away. That game was, it was not, Cole Caulfield, one goal was a roof.
They'd lose that one though. The Canadians were pretty hyped up, and
Yeah, I know, but
they get to running around in their own end late, and we're going to see more of that.
Yeah, but the Leafs are on paper at least the better team, and I think they should have won that game. But yeah, emotion, carries forth when it's an opener. So I mean, maybe now Montreal go 1-81.
And you would love to see that. This is the Convo, Norm, along with Mike. Guys, thank you so much for all of your participation. Thousands and thousands and thousands of views and listens in our first month back. Be sure to go to hockeybuzz.com and support Mr. Augello's work. We are sponsorless for this season, and I'm not asking for anything from you guys other than your devotion and your support, and you coming back with regularity to watch what we do, take in our content, and dare I say, share our content to those who are either skeptical of us and don't know us. The Leafs Convo, baby. We're rocking and rolling. Mike, with Matt Murray being injured, there are some roster implications now. Kyle Dubas has some decisions to make. I mean, are these encouraging decisions? Are these things that should excite him, or are these things that should concern him and by extension concern the rest of us?
Well, I mean, they were right up against it to start the season. They had to carry 20 players.
50 contracts, Mike.
They're at 50 contracts.
Yeah.
They had $4 in cap space before LTIR kicked in with Milt Liljegren and Jordy Ben going on LTIR. There was a doubt whether they were going to have 20 players. And Edmonton has already played with less than 20, so it's not unique to the Leafs situation. Mm-hmm. But, if Tavares hadn't been able to play on Wednesday, they would have had to go with a short lineup.
Right.
Now with Murray out, and Murray is out, like I said, the next 10 games and 24 days. So that's the middle of November.
Right.
Now they have the flexibility with LTIR of being able to call players up, and that especially be important after next Thursday. They play Dallas. They play Arizona on Monday, Dallas on Thursday. Then they go on the road for 5 games for the rest of the month of October. You obviously need extra bodies in case of players getting ill or players getting hurt far away from home. They're likely, Elliot Friedman mentioned it yesterday, they're likely going to call Nick Robertson up. Nick Robertson was not sent to the minors because he didn't make the team.
Right.
He was sent to the minors because he was waiver exempt. The interesting thing is Wayne Simmons. Wayne Simmons was waived. He was demoted, but he didn't report. He didn't.
He's skating outside of the organization right now, isn't he?
No. He's skating at Scotiabank Arena with some of the injured players.
Is he really? I thought he
was
on the team.
No. He was skating with Jordy Ben and Liljegren and Fraser Minton at SBA yesterday.
Right.
But the problem is like he's a Marley, but he didn't play in the first 2 games of the Marley. Now maybe now that they have the room, they will call him up.
He's got to want to trade though, right? If he doesn't want to play for the
this is the thing that's, and I have a lot of respect for Wayne Simmons. He's had a great career. The report, and I think it was Elliot that reported. No, it was Chris Johnson said that Wayne Simmons wants to play for a contender. Yeah, I want to date with Jessica
You can't
Chastain.
just declare that you want to play for a contender and go
You
to a
know,
contending team and be
yeah,
an
yeah, like I want to date with Sarah McLachlan too. So yeah, I mean, okay, that's great, but the
Oh
problem
my
is,
God, that crush will never die, will it, Michael?
the problem is that Wayne Simmons can't get from point A to point B like he did a few years ago, and he's practically a zero offensively. Now, can he play physical? Yes. Can he fight when needs be? Yes. Is he a good team player? Of course he is. I'm just and know that I talk to people with the Flyers that they're not interested. So
I think with these
and he's
comments, like I do it on purpose because I know you're
well,
gonna.
the
Oh,
Flyers aren't
Michael.
the Flyers aren't a contender. So the chatter out there that he wants to play for a contender, no contender wants him.
Right.
They couldn't give him away. They
Mhm.
basically said, it doesn't matter what we're going to get in return.
Right.
We'll move him because we respect him as a veteran player. We
Right.
like him, but he can't play for us. And they put him out there. They put him on waivers, and nobody claimed him. So
Is he
maybe
the Robinson Cano of hockey? Is he just gonna, I don't
no,
know,
he
hanging
doesn't.
around?
No, because he didn't take steroids. But no, I just think that they'll call him up because he's still part of this team and he's still respected in that room. But once Liljegren comes back, once Jordy Ben comes back, once Murray comes back, and then I think Simmons probably, if they can trade him, yes, and if they can't, then either he's going to report to the
Yeah.
minors or I don't know, does he retire? I don't know if he
Here,
does.
Mike. Vepsis, at this point, Simmons might be better off to retire if he doesn't want to play in the AHL. And considering his family is there in Toronto, maybe the Leafs can provide him with a front office job after his hockey career is over. I mean, you mentioned that, Mike, and that does make sense. I would like to see Wayne Simmons drawn to the lineup for that game in Winnipeg next week, though.
Yeah, well, yes, and I mean, I'm sure that some of the like Neil Pionk and Blake Wheeler, I'm sure that there wasn't really any kind of comeuppance for what happened last year with Rasmus Sandin. Yes, I do know that. I do know that Sarah is single, and I've made my intentions quite known. So out there,
Share the news with us, Mike, when it finally happens. We
yes,
need to
yes.
know.
I'll
Most
I'll
of our, I'm curious to know that
I'll
if
send
most
you
of our listeners know who she is.
I'll send you an invite when the wedding invitations go out.
Awesome.
But no, I think that this gives them a little bit of a flexibility with Murray going on LTIR, that they can call up a few players and have a few extras around. Maybe they call up Victor Mete, and because they only are carrying 6 defensemen right now. I do say that I asked Sheldon Keefe this yesterday about Rasmus Sandin. He has played pretty well playing the right side.
Mm.
It helps to have a veteran guy like Giordano who has played well as well. But they're really lumping a lot of minutes on Giordano, more than I expected. I thought they were going to play 13, 14 minutes a night. He's playing 18, 19 minutes a night.
Right.
So they're sort of limiting Sandin's exposure, but he's Keefe said he was it's a period of adjustment, but he thinks he's played well, and they're encouraged.
Yeah. And the key here, Mike, is to just keep the train on the tracks. There's going to be adversity. You are better because of adversity. And when things are too smooth, too light and breezy, then you need to be suspicious. Look at the Los Angeles Dodgers, 111 wins, the best team in baseball, besides Mike's Yankees for a couple weeks,
And Houston.
and they're out of the playoffs. Like it just felt like it was just going to happen. And that's it for them. Whereas you see teams like the Phillies and you see teams like the Padres having to wade through adversity, and they're now moving through. I mean, will their run end? It's likely, but I mean, they've made it past some of these teams that have had kind of were able to coast with the Leafs. Whether it's us drumming something up or something that's based in a little bit more reality, there's always an occurrence, there's always an issue, there's always something that we can talk about, we can argue over, that the team will lament. It's just it's just part of It's part of the process. First week down, 2 wins, 1 loss, 3 goals a game. The top guys are all contributing. You're seeing some stuff from the defense. They're limiting chances relatively well. We're on to the next week now, and if they can, win more than they lose in the next week, then the mission will not be accomplished until they get through the playoffs and put themselves in a position to win a championship. But again, it's just week to week, day to day, game to game, situation to situation.
Well,
perspective, Mike. I'm trying to add some perspective here, my friend.
Well, the schedule, and okay, I'll say this and then I'll offer the caveat. The schedule gods were kind to them in the fact that the next game is against the Arizona Coyotes. That being said,
hold on, Monday.
Let me finish. Yeah. That being said, this team has had a history of the teams that they should beat, they don't. Like Montreal. Right. So they better not mail it in against the Coyotes, because the Coyotes could eat their lunch.
Yeah, I like how you just stopped there, because we've seen this happen before, where the Leafs just play down to the competition, or on one of those sleepy nights at Scotiabank Arena, where I don't know why we expect the team to do well when traditionally they don't. But it really just comes down to, in a situation like that, developing within the game. Maybe something good happens within the game that will transcend that game and allow things to unfold in a positive way in the ensuing games, Mike. Yeah, and just with this group and what it's capable of doing and what it's expected to do, on paper they're expected to triumph. Unfortunately, the opposite can happen too. So if I'm a betting guy, if I'm one of those people who wagers on games like that, and if the expectation is the Leafs are going to win it, I might throw some money down on Arizona, because we've seen that kind of disappointment take shape in the past. What else do you want to get to here, Michael, before we wrap her up?
Well, not to say I told you so, and it's only 2 games, but anybody watching the second game of the doubleheader last night on Hockey Night in Canada got to see Jack Campbell in his glory give up 4 goals on 11 shots and get pulled by Edmonton 9 minutes into the first period. I said on the Buzzcast there was an equal chance of Stuart Skinner stealing the job in Edmonton than Jack Campbell having success. And this is the thing. And people think, just like I'm anti-William Nylander, I'm anti-Jack Campbell. No, I like William Nylander as a player. I just I didn't like the contract situation, and I don't like his inconsistency. With Jack Campbell, I didn't like his durability. I didn't like his inconsistency. And I didn't like the fact that he didn't really come up big in the playoffs. And I was against paying him $5 million for 5 years. Is he an upgrade for Edmonton? Of course he is, because Edmonton had the worst goaltending tandem of any playoff team in the NHL last year, and that's including Toronto. They had old man Mike Smith and Mikko the Siv Koskinen. Okay. So now they have.
If the money were right, sorry, Mike. If the money were right, would you take Samsonov, ship him out, and bring Jack Campbell back? If the money were right, no. So you're happy he's in.
Samsonov is on a 1-year deal at $1.8 million, and Jack Campbell is on a 5-year deal.
What I'm saying is, if the money were right, if you could just supplant one with the other, would you bring Jack Campbell back? Would you rather have him here?
I don't know. The unknown of Samson. Okay, 2 playoff series. Jack Campbell. Now, is it a crime that you were out goaltended by Carey Price and Andrei Vasilevsky? No, but he didn't make the big save when he needed to in 2 series that the Leafs had a chance to win. Is that I'm very happy for him that he got the big deal in Edmonton, and maybe he'll have a lot of success. There are a lot of people who supposedly know more than I that are picking Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. I don't think they're getting out of their division. I think Calgary is a better team. But I just think that would have been a big mistake for the Leafs to sign Jack Campbell to a 5-year deal. So I can't say Samsonov hands down. No, it's 2 games. I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. I'm just saying that Campbell is an average goaltender. He played below average after December 1st last year. Yeah.
A blast from the past. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
there you go. Okay, James Reimer, please. No, but I just, he played below average after December 1st, and I think that was in the
Right.
team won in spite of him. He went 19-5-5 after December 1st. His goals against was over 3, and his save percentage was under 900. That is the definition of a below average goaltender. So am I upset that they moved on from him? No, I'm glad he got paid in Edmonton. But I don't think he was an upgrade for Toronto. I think they
Right.
needed to go a different direction. I still think Matt Murray when he gets healthy, but the health is always going to be a question mark with Matt Murray, and their season may ride on Ilya Samsonov. We'll see, but right
He
now
has to stay
I don't
healthy.
think it was a
He
mistake.
has to stay healthy, Mike. And
Yeah,
if he goes down, it's by committee, by scrubs,
well, I mean,
backstopping one of the best teams in the NHL, and it
yeah,
could still happen. We
knock
don't
on
brace
wood.
for it.
Knock on wood. I mean, if Samsonov goes down, then they're really in trouble because Eric Shalgren I don't think can carry the mail for a long period of time.
OG's Converse, do you think the Leafs fall to the Coyotes at Scotiabank Arena on Monday? Is this game setting up to be another major disappointment? Or will they just put these fucking guys away and just blast them and then, break out offensively, win 5-6-1? What would that tell you if they could do something along those lines? We don't see that often, right? The Leafs tend to play down to the competition, eking out the win most of the time, but it's never a win and a game and an event that is satisfactory. We don't get satisfaction out of it. We complain about it. It would be nice to see the Leafs have a satisfactory win against the team they should pummel. It remains to be seen. In the meantime, plenty of content on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the Leafs Convo. Like this post, subscribe to the channel. Mike and I are doing this weekly, not only for us, but for you too. Be sure to get over to hockeybuzz.com. Give Mr. P all the why did I call you Mr. P? Michael P. Give Michael P. Augello of Chickawaga, New York, United States, Canada, USA, everywhere.
I'm Mr. P when I wake up in the morning. Sorry.
Of course you are, Mike. Of course you are, buddy. Oh, frig. Yeah, I'm trying to close this out here. Show Mike support. He loves the love. He loves love. Mike loves love. And again, doing what he does and getting the information that he does, and just being out there does require a foundation of people who give a flying frig. And we and we and we know you do. Yeah, and who knows? We might throw a sneak show into the mix during the week. So that's the good thing about being subscribed to the channel. You'll get a notification, and you may have to wait an hour or two before Mike finishes his pee, and we get in here and do our thing. But rest assured, we certainly will. Mike, do the Yankees hang on in this series, or is it over?
I think it's over. I mean, Garrett Cole probably has to pitch a complete game today, and then they go to a game 5 in New York which shouldn't, they should have beaten the punchless Guardians, but they can't. They can't. And now they get extended to game 5, and even if they win that, then they play the Astros fully rested. So
Yeah,
unless Justin Verlander is not fully rested after taking care of Kate Upton. But anyway.
Will you stop with the references here? I mean, all your dream women. As long as the P is blue, Mike.
No, that's his wife. I'm not dreaming about her.
Okay, well, look in order. I want the Padres to win. If not the Padres, the Phillies, and then the Yankees are third on my list.
I want anybody other than the Astros.
Right. Notice I haven't worn the other hat since that debacle last week.
You should.
Yeah, we better get out of here. For Mike, I'm Norm. Talk to you in about a week's time, guys. Bye.